What's up, Internet? Welcome to another IT Pro show to keep you in the know. Brought to you by our friends at Spiceworks If Davis and our very good friends at the Trusted Tech Team. Today, we're going to be talking about NCE and the inflation of Microsoft 365 costs, how you can save without compromising on flexibility. 2022 is shaping up to be a year of challenges for Microsoft 365. Your org may be having already experienced some of these changes, particularly with pricing and contract terms. Although Microsoft updates are designed to enhance the whole overall M365 experience, they do come with tangible impacts. In this video meetup, we're going to be covering everything you need to know about Microsoft 365 in 2022. Most importantly, we explain NCE and highlight the top considerations you need to keep in mind to reduce your costs and remain compliant with Microsoft. We're going to be talking about NCE, who's impacted by it, what are the pain points that Triple Tech Team has observed from customers, and how NCE changed TTT's approach with customers to address those pain points. What are some technical challenges from Microsoft 365 licensing products and services? Yes, licensing. And we have tools and resources from the Trusted Tech Team to recommend to its customers to aid in administrating their M365 experience and environment. So stick around. That's a great topic. The good news, 2 very lucky attendees are going to get the very generous $250 Amazon e-gift card. So get those questions in because we have a great panel. You're familiar with them. I'm familiar with them. So let's get them in so we can get this show starting. So batting first, he's the Director of Professional Services from Trusted Tech Team. Please welcome Michael Yu. Michael, good morning.
Hi, good to see everyone here. Hope you're all having a wonderful morning. Thanks for joining us for another VMU.
Yes, good to see you again. As always, breakfast went okay?
Yes.
Sorry, again,
Very hearty.
our pre-show was talking about food, so it's always going to go to food. So,
Always
welcome.
relevant.
Good to see you again, Mike. So, batting second, he's the Director of Cloud Services for the Trusted Tech Teams. Please welcome Chidera Odua. Chidera, how are you?
Doing well,
Yeah.
Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good. Again, we were just talking about burger scholars. We were talking about hot ones, food. We were just that is the communication we all live and die by.
Indeed. The legacy Anthony Bourdain left behind.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. What a great experience. I highly recommend that documentary that goes over his life. It is great stuff. But yeah, speaking of great stuff, let's dig into our topic because we have a great topic we're going to be talking about here. So Chidera, Mike, either one of you, let's talk about Trusted Tech Team. Like basically, let's do the Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's your daddy and what do you do? So who are you and kind of tell us what you do.
Absolutely. So kicking things off with who we are. Again, thank you for the warm welcome, Jeff. It's a pleasure to chat with you and our lovely audience. As Director of Cloud Services, I lead Trusted Tech Team's Microsoft Cloud Solution Provider Department, which we typically abbreviate as CSP. In leading our CSP practice, I draw heavily from my background as a support engineer, solutions architect, and enterprise consultant. Among all the certifications, I am a Microsoft 365 Certified Enterprise Administrator Expert and a Microsoft Certified Azure Solutions Architect Expert. With my experience and expertise, I steer my team in supporting our CSP customers with a customer service-centric approach.
Awesome. Mike, is there anything you want to add into that?
I've been doing enough of these. Hopefully you guys know me already, but for those
yeah, we all know you.
For those that don't, I've been in this industry for I think it's my 14th year this year. Most of that time was spent with yeah, it's been a while. Most of the time has been spent with MSPs working on the technician side and going out and solving all the problems and all the things like that. But here as the manager or director of professional services, I handle the project work. So anything that our clients need with O365 or Azure, build out re-architectures, things like that, I would be the contact point for that.
Got it. Awesome. Yeah, you guys always deliver. I feel, even just me moderating, hosting, I feel like anytime I'm on a show with you guys, I learn something. And this is a topic we all you can never just say, yep, I got all the answers. We rely on the Trusted Tech Team. So get a little bit into it, kind of like who the Trusted Tech Team is and kind of what they do.
Absolutely, Jeff. So, Trusted Tech Team is a value added reseller specializing in Microsoft legacy and cloud products. As a Microsoft Cloud Solution provider, our core tenets are simplifying licensing, billing, and technical support for our customers. By focusing on these three pillars, we offer our customers a unique solution to a prevalent issue within the somewhat nascent cloud solution market. Time and again, we encounter customers who are grappling with the ever shifting targets of license administration, billing management, and technical support. Some customers have a solid grasp on some of these systems, but they need help to pull everything together into a complete offering. Whilst most customers do not even know where to start or how to get the help they sorely need, unfortunately, cloud vendors such as Microsoft often overcomplicate these topics with their Byzantine licensing models, subscription management portals, and difficult to reach support teams. That is where we are able to step up to the plate by addressing the frustrations of Microsoft Cloud customers with our tightly coupled management systems, highly trained and responsive support agents, and access to our premier support for partners benefits. We provide all these benefits to our customers at no additional cost. With these principles in place, we have saved thousands of organizations countless hours and dollars, all while elevating their IT teams as heroes. We look forward to imparting our audience with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate around some of the major pitfalls of Microsoft 365 administration during today's discourse. As a quick overview, we'll be discussing what NCE is, the pain points stemming from it that we've observed from our customers, and how we can help. We will wrap up with a synopsis of some useful Microsoft 365 administration tools while leaving enough time to answer some questions from our audience.
Yes, and we know we have a fantastic audience, and they're going to get those great questions in that we need because again, licensing,
Absolutely.
administration, anytime you get into that, you're just like you're going to have questions, and if you don't have a question, you need to question what question yourself. Why don't you have questions over this topic? So
Fair point.
So, guys, let's get into and I see NCE and my brain goes to nice. So, but let's kind of like, what is the actual what is NCE
Yeah.
exactly?
Sure. So NCE stands for New Commerce Experience, and the name is kind of kept vague in general. It doesn't really, it's not very descriptive, and it's
Yeah.
done for a reason. And it's not an entirely new thing either. It's not something that just came out within the past year. Microsoft has been kind of tossing the idea around for at least a few years, and it started on the Azure side, but eventually it kind of just started encompassing everything. So Microsoft's cancellation and return policy for their O365 licensing was, to be honest, one of the better ones out there in the software market. It's like the Costco return policy of software. So, and they had a 30-day cancellation window for when you add in new licenses. You can add or subtract at any time during your billing cycle, and they would prorate you by the day. It was very generous, and something that good can't really last forever. So one of the major changes of NCE is that they shortened that 30-day cancellation window down to 7 days, which is still not terrible. It used to be, I believe, 72 hours at the onset, and so many people, so many resellers and CSPs and clients complained about how restrictive that was, that they upped it to 7 days. We have the price increases across the core licenses and things like that. So there are, a couple of most of the NCE changes are really on the reseller and CSP side, which also kind of gets pushed to the end clients because, as the CSPs get hit with those changes, we kind of have to change how we do things a little bit as well to keep that same service and price point for our customers. So, in summary, NCE stands for New Commerce Experience, and as for why it was done, the short answer is that Microsoft likes money, and the long answer is Microsoft really, really, really likes money.
They like money. I can't believe they like money. I like money.
It's not cheap buying Activision Blizzard. So.
No, it's not. That's very true.
It's true. Yeah.
Those
I think
are
somewhere in the
facts.
neighborhood of $60 billion.
Oof,
Or is that
those are
70?
facts. That's a lot of
Pretty
B's.
Yeah.
Jared, what do you want? Do you want to add anything on to that?
Absolutely. I think Mike did a great job. But just to add a bit more context. So, again, Microsoft initially announced the new commerce experience in 2019 for Azure in its CSP sales channel. From Microsoft's perspective, NCE is intended to streamline how customers transact and consume its cloud offerings. Most Microsoft 365 customers do not interact with Azure to the extent that they would feel the impact of the NCE changes for Azure. However, with Microsoft now implementing NCE for its seat-based offers, Microsoft 365 customers will have to confront the challenges brought about by these developments. To clarify, the new commerce experience now encompasses Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, Power Platform, and Windows 365 CSP offers. In addition to modifying how customers transact in the CSP channel, Microsoft designed NCE to incentivize customers into yearly subscription contracts. Whereas previously, customers can enjoy the same pricing regardless of whether they elected for monthly or yearly subscriptions, Microsoft now charges a 20% premium on all monthly seat-based subscriptions. As you can imagine, the price increase on monthly subscriptions has sent the CSP channel into an uproar, but Microsoft has given no indication of backing down from this maneuver. Now, rather than raging against the machine, we adapted our approach to selling seat-based Microsoft Cloud offerings so as to reduce the burden on our customers. First and foremost, we prioritize developing enduring relationships with our clientele by providing value added services that go beyond selling a product. Secondly, we align our customers' business and technical requirements with the right solutions. This strategy frequently means we end up saving our customers money by reducing the bloat in their SaaS stack through feature and vendor consolidations. Thirdly, we constantly reevaluate our customers' needs to ensure their subscriptions keep up with the changes in their company. The techniques I just laid out harken back to our core tenets of simplifying licensing, billing, and technical support for our customers. In doing so, despite the hurdles presented by NCE, we are once more in a position to alleviate our customers' administrative overhead so their IT personnel can focus on more meaningful work.
That sounds fantastic. That really it's almost sounds like having a good lawyer that is actually there to do like the really hard negotiations and get into the weeds so we can actually do the jobs of being IT professionals, right? Having that
Yeah.
expertise is
Yeah.
invaluable because again, we know the plane never stops. Everything just keeps rolling, so we have to kind of roll through.
Very
So
cool.
it's almost like
So
having a trusted tech team on your side.
yeah, exactly. It's like what?
Oh, that was a great
Ding.
setup.
Not sure where that came
Oh
from. That
yeah.
was just off the
That
top.
was right there, right? Just like, yeah, if this was not live,
Indeed.
we could have put an edit to have the ding. That would have been
If only.
perfect. Yeah. So we'll get into, for Trusted Tech Team. I think I even it blurted it out, called it Triple T Team, and then people are probably like, what is he talking about? But yeah, for the Trusted Tech Team,
I like that
what are
too.
Triple T. So what are the pain points that the Trusted Tech Team have observed from customers so far?
So a lot of the pain points that hit CSPs are also the same ones that hit customers because it's a relationship. So the first and foremost, and the one that's really noticeable right off the bat, is the price increases. All of the core suites had their prices increased from between $1 to between $4 or $5. Like the Business Basic, Standard, Premium, E3, and E5. So that one right there is, I think, what the vast majority of people are focused on when they talk about NCE changes, because as the end customer, you're seeing that your licenses are now going up 5, 10, 15% with no real difference, right? Like the licenses didn't give you any additional features. It didn't unlock anything else. They're the exact same license with the exact same feature set, but now they just cost more. On top of that, people were used to the annual and the monthly being the same price, and going monthly to help with your flexibility didn't cost you any extra money. But now, if you want to do the monthly option and have that flexibility, you're paying a 20% premium on top, and that's on top of the price increase, the flat price increase already. So it's I think that is the point that is really on top of everyone's minds, and it's the most difficult one for people to work
Yeah.
around because you can do everything in your power to make the price low for your clients, but if the source is ramping it up, then it kind of has to follow, right? So that's number one, is just the price increase across the board. And apart from those two things I mentioned, there's also them splitting up the licenses. For example, Dynamics used to be one license, right? That one license gave you access to all of the feature sets from the Dynamics, and now there's, I think, like 10 plus different ones. They separate out for marketing, for sales, for customer service, and so on and so forth. And if you wanted the full Dynamics feature set now, it would be many times more than what it used to cost. So in addition to that, to the price increase, you can see there's also like a few trickier ones, like that Dynamics one, where things get separated out and pared down, and you're just having to pay more for the same feature set as before. So, in addition to the price increases, the flexibility, I think, is what hit CSPs and resellers harder than anyone else, because you know, most people don't like committing for an entire year unless you're a big business and it's just kind of worked into your budget. But for smaller businesses and medium businesses, paying for licenses for a whole year when you don't know what your staffing situation is going to be like throughout the whole year is very scary, right? And as COVID has shown us, like, something out of our control can happen that just it changes the landscape of the economy or the business, and you might have mass layoffs, you might have to shutter divisions, you might have to lay people off, and it's if you committed to 500 licenses at the beginning of your billing cycle and something like that happened, then it's very scary, because having to pay an entire half a year for something you don't need or want or use is a terrible feeling. So that flexibility and that 20% premium just really puts a lot of people in a tough spot, because you're having to choose between being able to adjust based on your situation versus saving 20%. And 20% is not an insignificant number. It's pretty significant for most businesses. Yeah. So that I think I've seen the most complaints about. I mean, other than the price increase, but that one definitely is difficult to deal with in a lot of situations. And on top of that, I think Microsoft documentation is a bit hit or miss. Like, for some things, you'll find Microsoft documentation and they'll be so fantastic. They'll go into every little detail, provide you with every screenshot, and it's fantastic. It's a great guide. And for some other things, information is pretty vague and pretty bare bones, and it's going to take you a whole lot of Googling or a whole lot of third-party sites to try to make sense of it. So these changes weren't exactly like highlighted and outlined in easy to read step-by-step guides. It's just kind of, they threw the information out there and went, good luck, everyone. So it's rather difficult, and even working at a company that specializes in this, it's not as straightforward as many of us would like it to be, and there's still a lot of confusion around it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. Again, it becomes a full-time job, right? It was just like literally, like you can spend your whole time trying to understand the licensing. Yeah, like in the chat, I saw Patrick was asking, like, can you provide a Microsoft link? Because if you go down and you start looking down, you go down the Google rabbit hole, there's a lot of, it's always confusing. There's not like a clear, you're going to go here and this is what's happening. And it's kind of always been like that, right? It's just like there's needing that understanding, and I don't know the strategy behind it, but we just know that we always need help with that because we're trying to do our jobs on top of that. So what can Trusted Tech Team do to help around this situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll address the pain points, and I'll talk about how we can help you alleviate these. So number one, again, is absolutely the pricing. And if you take a look at our pricing, if you take a quick meeting with one of our BDRs and just kind of go through your situation, you'll still find that our prices are better than anyone else in the industry. We're regularly beating out competitors, even the bigger ones like CDW and all of that. And we do this because we think that the value of having a long-term client who trusts us and who values the relationship is a lot more valuable than making a quick 20% increase, right? And
absolutely,
we do this by kind of taking some of the liability for ourselves. So we don't lock clients into that 1 year model, 1 year commitment. We give them the annual pricing with the monthly flexibility. So it really is the best of both worlds. And on our end, if a client cancels early, then we take the hit for them and allow them to still have that flexibility. And it's a gamble on our part, but we're willing to bet that gamble and that goodwill that we gain with our clients, and them seeing that we're still cheaper and we offer that flexibility is going to pay off in the long run, because the legacy system was in place for a long time, and it was a really good system. And to lose one of the key points of having that system is too much for a lot of business to handle right now. So um, that's how we help out on the pricing and flexibility, is that we'll take the liability for you so that you can have the best of both worlds. In addition to that, for all the confusion, I've taken so many calls about the licensing changes since NCE dropped, and I don't expect anyone to understand all of these changes. I don't expect most people working in this industry to know most of these changes, let alone end users who don't have to deal with this every day. So it's a bit overwhelming. And one of the things that we really like to do is we like to help people understand the whole licensing, because we see a lot of clients that come to us and they have a lot of redundant licensing or licensing they don't need. Like people that come in with the M365 E5 that don't ever use the phone system and don't ever use audio conferencing or any of the advanced security features, and they're just paying $57 for a license they're using maybe 25% of. It happens a lot. And it's Microsoft's not going to pop in and say, hey, we notice you're giving us too much money.
Yeah, no.
Here's how you can stop doing that. No, they're never going to do that, right? So that's kind of the role we take on. When we onboard clients and we see stuff like that, we make sure to tell them, like, hey, we noticed that you have these licenses, but in our discussion, you told us you don't use any of these features. So here's a license that's half the cost. It has everything that you do use with none of the stuff that you don't. And so a lot of clients come to us like that, and we do our best to make it optimal for the license buying. So,
yep. Got it. And again, that's why you're the trusted tech team. We need, because you're absolutely right. I mean, you nailed it. Having those relationships, because when you get into a scary situation where you don't fully understand, you don't want to feel like that, by your side is somebody that's just trying to make a sale or hit a number. You want to have a relationship, and you build these relationships. And we've all been in the industry for a while. And then when you're new to the industry, you're building these relationships, and these relationships that when you build with like Trusted Tech Team, that's what gets you through a lot of these very difficult hurdles of understanding. Like you said, am I overspending in some places? Am I underspending? Am I compliant here, but not compliant there? So really, that's the value there. It's priceless. So speaking on the NCE, so how has any NCEs changed Trusted Tech Team's approach to CSPs to address a lot of the pain points we're talking about?
Yeah, that's a solid question, Jeff. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm sorry, Jeff, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure I got a call on
good.
cell from some scam likely number.
All good.
Anyways, so as I mentioned earlier, NCE presented a bit of a hurdle to our standard business operation. With that being said, our greatest strength resides in our ability to quickly adapt to shifting tides in the market. That adaptability pushed us into action. By engaging with our Microsoft Premier Support for Partners technical account manager and our customers, we devised the best path forward for all interested parties. Our chosen path allows us to continue providing our customers with the flexibility they appreciated under the legacy CSP model, which is what or rather, what Microsoft refers to regarding the old pricing and license cancellation and seat modification process, while remaining in compliance with Microsoft's new commerce experience terms, striking the sweet spot between keeping our customers happy and Microsoft satisfied as a monumental effort from our internal teams, or rather, was a monumental effort. But seeing the relief that crosses every new customer's face when we tell them that they can continue with their monthly billing makes it all worthwhile. Whenever an IT administrator, director, CIO, what have you, has to explain to the C-suite that, hey, not only are we going to experience or rather undergo price increases, but we're going to be locked into a contract for 1 to 3 years. I mean, that's any IT director's nightmare. There's a good chance you might not have a job much longer once you've explained that to the C-suite. But
Absolutely.
going on, as we enter these uncertain times, it's imperative that you situate yourself with a Microsoft CSP partner that can accommodate the changes your company will undoubtedly undergo due to market shifts. I mean, we just came out of the pandemic for the most part, and now we're going into a possible recession. So again, you do not want to be in a position where you're locked into long contracts because you just don't know what tomorrow holds. Missing this opportunity will put you in a position where you can be locked into a 1 to 3 year long contract, during which you will not be able to reduce your seat counts, thereby subjecting your business to hefty invoices for empty seats. So, again, we help by making sure you don't get locked into those contracts.
And like you said, now more than ever, whether you see it, in the grocery stores and you see it in the gas
Mhm.
pumps, and we're going to see it at work too, that this is the time to
Yeah,
batten down the hatches and make sure that you're actually getting value where you're spending your money. So, Jared,
precisely.
we'll dig into this a little bit. So, what are some of the technical changes to Microsoft 365
Yeah.
licensing and products and
Yeah.
services?
Certainly. So, separate from NCE, Microsoft announced price increases across the board. The announcement coincided with NCE, but the price increases were, at least from Microsoft's standpoint, meant to be separate from NCE. And those price increases took effect earlier this year. Let me go over those price increases. I did provide a link to a Microsoft blog that actually covers those price increases, but for anyone who perhaps missed that link, I'll just go ahead reiterate that information here. So the Microsoft 365 Business Basic license that went from a $5 MSRP to $6 per user. Bear in mind, all these prices are MSRP. Our prices will undoubtedly be lower than MSRP, but just to give you an idea of what you would be paying if you go with Microsoft directly or perhaps another partner who does not pass on some of those savings to you. Next, we have the Microsoft 365 Business Premium license, which went from $20 to $22. Again, all uh, monthly per user pricing that I'm giving out here. On the next item, we have Office 365 E1, which went from $8 to $10. And then we have Office 365 E3, which went from $20 to $23. We have Office 365 E5, which went from $35 to $38. And then lastly, we have Microsoft 365 E3 going from $32 to $36 again per user per month for all these. So those will be the price increases that took effect this year. We have not received any announcements of any additional price increases. Once more, all prices mentioned are Microsoft's MSRP, but if you were to go with a partner such as ourselves, you would of course receive discounts because we receive discounted pricing, which we then pass on to our customers. Next, as far as updates go, we have Windows 365. Now, Windows 365 was actually released into general availability towards the middle of last year, but I wanted to bring this item up because I just don't see enough partners talking about it. I don't see Microsoft really pushing the product as much as I thought they would, but I do see a lot of interest from customers, and that interest tends to turn into or come in the form of questions. So for all those who are unaware, Windows 365, it's a fully managed virtualized desktop environment, which, as you can imagine, comes with Windows, either Windows 10 or 11, and it provides you with much of the benefits that are included in your 365 licensing. So you can sort of think of it as what was formerly Windows Virtual Desktop, which then was renamed as Azure Virtual Desktop, but more management is placed in the hands of the cloud provider, in this case Microsoft, in terms of ensuring your machines are kept up to date and secured, and that leaves you as an IT admin or as an end user just sort of enjoying the experience. So a very sort of hands-off approach to being able to provision your end users with virtual desktops. solid product out there. Next, we have the remote help for Intune. Now, this is something that I had been asking for a long time from Microsoft, because prior to this, you had to go through, third party, through TeamViewer, in order to have that sort of integrated with your Intune configuration, so that you can provide remote assistance to your end users. It's an absolute nightmare. Outside of that, you could use Quick Assist, which is well and good, but it's just not the sort of secured solution that you'd want to see from a provider like Microsoft. So now, with a remote help add-on, you actually have a built-in solution for Intune. So again, great product there, and I'm glad it finally made its way into general availability. And then lastly, we have some product name changes. Now, bear in mind, these are not all the changes, but these are just sort of the ones that were, came first to mind, that I thought would be most relevant to our audience. Now, the name change in question has to do with the Microsoft 365 Compliance Suite of products, formerly known as Microsoft 365 Compliance. Those products have now been retermed as Microsoft Purview, and it's meant to align with the sort of Azure Purview experience, and it provides a unified data governance platform for you to essentially, you know, provide, or rather apply things like sensitivity labels, policies, insider risk. You can also set up, sort of compliance standards between departmental communications and things of that nature, just to ensure that not only are you compliant externally, but also compliant with your internal company policies and guidelines. So those would be the foremost updates that I would like everyone to be aware of.
Isn't it crazy how much a rebranding on their part can basically just be the equivalent of just a puff of dust, and now there's nothing but confusion again, and then they'll settle, and then a rebranding, and then poof, it's back again. It's just like, oh, how do you keep up with the that's where it is. So, well, cool.
Every couple of
guys,
years,
man, it just so much confusion
Keep things fresh.
it adds. That's right. So, well, we're about halfway through, and I know we have some resources we want to share, but we also want to we got a lot of questions in the chats and the QAs that are hopping. So I want to give everybody an opportunity, since we're at that halfway point. So if you guys are ready, you want to field some questions,
let's do it.
All right, here we go. So first up, our buddy Dim. What's up, Dim? How are you? So did Microsoft get rid of audio conferencing licensing and bundle that feature into e-licenses, or was that a rumor?
So that was not a rumor.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Mike, go ahead. You first.
Okay. It was not a rumor. Audio conferencing did become a free feature. You can get one free license per core license you have. The caveat there is that you have to add it as a annual bill, right? So if you have 100 business standards, you can add 100 audio conferencings for free. You just have to make sure your CSP adds them as the annual package, not as the monthly package. So the features are pretty much the same, but yeah, you are correct that that is free. I don't think that lasts for too much longer. So if that is something you want, better to act quicker rather than later.
Confirmed. Here it is, live, stamped. It is not a rumor. All right. Next question is a double question from Just Merrick. So is the Windows 365 license a virtual PC license that runs in Azure Cloud, kind of like Citrix? And also, would that virtual PC run on a Mac?
Yeah. So yes to both questions. It is effectively that. However, you do also have use rights through your Microsoft 365 business and enterprise licenses. There are some differences in terms of the capabilities that are available, depending on if you have the business suite of licenses, or if business premium, or if you have the Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 licensing. Some feature differences I can think of is that with the Microsoft Enterprise licensing, you do need to have, in addition to Azure AD, you would also have to have an Active Directory domain services, whether that be on-prem or managed in the form of Azure Active Directory domain services. But these are some of the capabilities that we'd want to drill into a little bit more. Uh, First and foremost, we want to understand your use case, which devices you intend to use it on. And yes, it can be used on macOS in addition to mobile devices like iOS as well, very similar to the AVD experience. But again, these are the kind of questions we love receiving from our customers and prospective clients. So we absolutely would want you to sign up for our 15-minute consultation with our TTT Cloud Engineering team. So that way, again, this is entirely free of charge, but it will just give you an opportunity to really share those questions, share any concerns you have, and allow us time to address those questions for you. And that is a link that we actually have in our sidebar. Again, it's the sign up for a 15-minute consultation with the TTT Cloud Engineer.
Yes. So check out that resource widget right there. It's the first one right there at the top. I see that. Awesome. All right. Next question from Mark Searles. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Mark. So are license changing penalties removed from the trusted tech team partner?
Like yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, so we do not apply any penalties to changing of licensing, reduction of seats. All the penalties that would be sort of experienced under Microsoft, we do not assign to your accounts. So you would be in good hands.
Got it. Awesome. So you're our shield. You're the team shield.
Precisely. Precisely. We're your vanguard.
That's what we like. Yeah. I could see the Trusted Tech team diving to take the shot for us, so we don't have to take it.
Indeed.
So next question up from Peter. How do we request a usage audit like you were just talking about?
So the best way to do that is to.
Sorry. Go ahead.
We're
I don't mean to take all the questions.
To answer your question. The best way to do that is to get an initial meeting with one of our BDRs, and during that meeting, they can ask you about your environment and kind of get the specifics down. And once we get a good idea of your environment, we'll bring on a tech that can go over your licensing, and we can analyze. We can ask you like, hey, we see that you have this license. Are you using this feature? And a lot of the times, a lot of our clients will have at least one license that they're not utilizing the full feature set of. And also in a lot of those cases, there's a different license, most likely a cheaper one that will give them everything they need without paying that extra overhead for features they don't really care to use. So use that link on the sidebar, schedule a quick 15-minute meeting with one of our BDRs, ask any questions you have at all, and we will find the right resources to answer this for you and get them in the meeting with you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, that's been a big in the chat, and thank you, Tim, for pointing that out, that people really asking like the best way to reach out. Because again, when you're sitting here, you feel that value. You're just like, it really is something that people are going to need to do their job effectively. All right. So next up from Joe Jarvis, does NCE clean up invoicing? It would be nice to have it consolidated into one invoice.
So no, NCE doesn't clean up invoice, and that's exactly the problem.
It makes it worse.
It makes it worse because imagine this. For instance, you have the option to elect for either monthly seat-based subscriptions, 1 year seat-based subscriptions, and eventually Microsoft will allow for 3-year seat-based subscriptions. So you will have different renewal dates for each of those subscriptions. Now, we are able as partners to align renewal dates of the same term, meaning we can align any monthly subscriptions with other monthly subscriptions, but we can't align monthly subscriptions with yearly subscriptions. So you would effectively be getting charged on different dates, invoiced on different dates. What we do, though, by stepping in and again, sort of being that vanguard between you and Microsoft, is to ensure that your invoices are aligned through our billing system. So, regardless of what Microsoft is charging us or when they're charging us, you would receive invoices from us on the same date every month. So that way, you can actually, sort of make everything work effectively for your billing team. I know we don't say this enough, but we love working with companies or organizations, sort of accounts receivable teams or accounts payable. From our experience, we've been able to alleviate a lot of those constraints that they encountered with other partners. I just want to make sure. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you just cut out for a second,
Okay,
but you're back.
perfect.
Yep, just 1
Yeah,
second.
sorry,
Yep,
these
you're good.
scam likely calls. Oh, okay.
So many of them now.
Yeah, it's absolutely obscene. So back to what I was saying though. So again, we as partners enable the consolidation of billing for you. In addition to that, we also have um, uh, terms that you can apply for, whether it be 30 days, 60 days, what have you, whatever you need, different payment systems, whether it be credit card, whether it be ACH, whether it be, uh, you know, POs, whatever you need, just let us know and we can work with you.
Awesome. Good stuff. And I believe you already provided a link. Jim 3173 was looking for a link showing explaining these price changes. I think I saw that already go through. Yep. So if you didn't see that,
certainly.
we can also add that to the resource widget later. Okay, next question from IT analyst guy. Any clarity on how this will impact nonprofit licensing?
Yeah. So right now, Microsoft has not expressed any price increases to nonprofit licenses, so you are safe for the time being. However, nonprofit licenses are still subjected to the same changes in NCE terms. But again, for our nonprofit customers, for our GCC customers, for our commercial and educational customers, we provide the same terms across the board. So if you, depending on what your organization, what your firm, what your agency needs, we can find a suitable solution that will, again, consolidate your billing, make sure you get the invoices on the same date. Perhaps you'd like to split up your invoices to different dates. That's something that we can work with as well. So I think we can definitely find a solution that will fit you quite well.
Awesome. All right. Next question up from Steve W. What is the process to move an annual basic license to part of an annual standard license agreement?
Okay.
So
Annual basic. Sorry. I'm getting lost in this.
No,
Please
it's
go ahead,
all
Mike.
good.
You're enjoying this too much, Dara.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you guys are
fun.
both such a plethora of knowledge that I love that you both already, that shows just, the kind of value that you're getting from you, that you both are instantly on it. So that's awesome.
Certainly.
We're both a little too eager, but it's a good problem to have, I would say. So, so you can upgrade licenses. So basically, in any scenario where you give Microsoft more money, they're more than happy to make it as easy as possible. So if you were on a business basic license and you want to upgrade to business standard, what we do in the portal is we click the upgrade option, and that'll keep the same terms. It'll keep everything else the same, but it will simply upgrade the item, the line item, to that new thing. So upgrading licenses is still perfectly fine. Downgrading doesn't follow the same logic because less money for Microsoft, but upgrading is very, very simple. It's very straightforward. The only caveat there is that it doesn't automatically assign the licenses for you, so you have to go in and do that yourself. But other than that, it's a pretty seamless process.
Awesome. Sure. All right. Next question up from S. Wheeler. Any tips for justifying price increases for Office 365 with no additional features to the C-suite crowd, or you just tell them that you're just like, sorry, just got to bite the bullet?
Yeah, to be honest, that's a tough one to help with.
Yeah.
Where we help is by making sure you don't experience those price increases. So I'd say the best justification is letting them know that you found a great deal through a trusted partner that can ensure that you keep the same price and the same terms that your organization has enjoyed up to this point. And then that way, from there rather, you can then connect with us and we'll show you exactly how we'll go about doing that for you. So at the end of the day, you end up coming out as a hero. So if anything, I would let your C-suite know that, hey, Microsoft is trying to increase our prices. However, I found a way around that Let me show you how.
I love
That would
it.
be my
That is
suggestion.
perfect. That's what we need, right? We need the IT
Yeah,
needs to be heroes because we know we're usually
exactly.
the
That's how we
unsung
position you.
heroes. So that's how we do it,
Precisely,
especially to the
precisely.
C-suite. Because now we're talking the language like we were talking about. We speak food, they speak money,
Hmm.
right? And you
Very
show
true.
that savings they're going to be there. Cool.
Indeed, we got to
Another
make sure
question
your
here
name
from
gets spread far and wide.
that's right. Spoken of in legends.
Exactly.
All right. Cool. Question here from Joe here. Well, so will they be able to mix commitments? For instance, if you have a 250 employees that can commit for a year for 250 month to month as people come and go.
Absolutely, they can. We actually have a client that we're doing that for right now. They have 600 users that they know for sure are going to be there year after year. And they have another pool of like 150 that come and go, throughout the year. So we have one line item for 600 for the annual, and another line item for 150. So short answer, yes, you can mix and match to your heart's content.
That's nice. That's
Indeed.
nice. All right. Next question up from Nicole. Does Trusted Tech Team work with MSPs?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of our biggest clients are in fact MSPs. So that is something that we have experience with, and it's absolutely something that I would want to get on a call with you to understand sort of what are your what are your needs as an MSP? What are what is what your client base look like, and sort of what are the support? How should I say the support criteria for assisting your customers? So again, I think this is a great opportunity for that 15-minute consultation with our cloud engineering team.
All right, that sounds great. So we got about 4 minutes worth of questions before we jump in the resource. So let's get a couple of different questions here. So this one's from Larry. Will Microsoft be increasing the price of MSDN, which is another one that sometimes that there's just a lot of confusion around how that's licensing, and I think they've been affected a lot by the rebranding effort. So I don't know if there's going to be any increase in prices that you guys know about.
Mm. No, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Well,
Not that I've heard of.
not that I've heard of explicitly, although, I mean, there is some information in the grapevine that Microsoft is considering increasing the MSDN subscription price between 9 to 25%, but that's not something that I have corroborated with any sort of Microsoft documentation out there just yet. So I would be hesitant to say yes, but it is not a non-zero chance.
Got it.
Which basically means it's tough. We're just trying to figure out how to frame it in a way that's not just we're
Yes.
increasing your price. Yeah, but
Yes.
yeah.
It's so it's always
Or
an
there's a
option.
there's a non-zero chance that it could happen. Yes.
Love it. So, all right, we got 3 minutes, so we got time for a couple more questions. Is Intune's its own standalone license, or is it bundled in with any
Yeah.
of the Microsoft 365 licensing? It is its own thing, like
Yeah.
David S.
So
You want to take this,
Pumpkins. It's
Intune
Mike,
its
or do you
own
want me
thing.
to? Okay.
Intune
Go for it,
definitely
Mike.
can be purchased as a standalone license. There's the full Intune license. There's Intune device as well, which is cheaper, but only covers a device. But Intune is also included with a lot of the suites, most notably Business Premium, Microsoft 365 E3 and up. So it for the vast majority of clients that want to use Intune, they're already kind of on the path to the M365 E3, which I think is the best value for feature set license that
Yeah.
currently exists in the O365. Um, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Environment.
Sphere.
Yeah, Sphere. I was tossing around that word too. But yeah, Intune is you can purchase Intune as a standalone license, but for most companies that need it, it's better value bundled with either the E3 or the Business Premium.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, see if I can blow through a couple of these really quick before we have about 1 minute. I think this was already kind of answered with Trusted Tech Team working with nonprofits from Captain R. Obvious, but is the process the same for contacting Trusted Tech Team, or is it a different route for nonprofits?
Exact same process. So our
Okay.
cloud engineers are trained to handle a wide gamut of clientele. So again, our clients hail from the commercial sector, GCC, meaning the government community cloud sector. We have nonprofits and we have educational customers as well. So all of our cloud engineers are trained up on exactly how to address each of those types of clients. So same
Awesome.
process through that 15-minute consultation, or just giving us a call. I would lean more towards the 15-minute consultation though, so that way again you have a exact schedule. You can prepare in advance, gather any information that you think might be relevant for the call, and you'll be able to present that to our engineers.
Got it. All right. Selfishly, I'm going to steal the last question. I'm plucking this one out of chat because I'm kind of curious myself.
Yeah.
So, ode to joy. Is Trusted Tech Team going to have a presence at Spice World 2022 this year, whether virtual or in person? I'm hoping the answer is yes, so we can share some good foods. So
Yeah,
I think
absolutely. I'm sorry.
with
Could we repeat that question one more
yeah,
time?
no, I think we're just
I'm leaning to
gonna
yes, but I just want to make sure I heard it correctly.
yeah, so we'll get some clarity on that whether it's going to be because this year it's going to be a little different because we have virtual and in person. So again, if you can make
That's
it out
true.
here in
That's true.
Alton in person, that would be awesome to see you guys here in person because we see each other all the time
Absolutely. Would love
virtually.
to.
So awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you guys
that's
so
very
much.
true.
You had a bunch of great questions. Sorry if we didn't get to them all, but again, this is the busiest widget I've ever seen because Trusted Tech Team has nothing but answers for you. So please definitely follow up on those resource widgets. And then, Jader and Mike, do
Definitely.
you want to go over some of the other tools and resources
Absolutely.
that Trusted?
Yes. Yes, yes. So
Go
the
for it.
the most important tool I would say is that sign up for a 15-minute consultation with the TTT Cloud Engineer. Reason being, we can just directly answer your questions. You don't have to go looking around, on Google, digging through Microsoft documentation, sort of getting spun around in every direction. We can just provide you
Oh.
those answers directly. Outside of that, though, being sort of the foremost tool that you can use, we have the Microsoft Administrator Portals direct links. Now, this is a GitHub collection of direct links to the various administrative portals that exist within the Microsoft 365 and Azure and Dynamics and Power Platform and the individual server security and compliance aspects of Microsoft Cloud Services. What I find especially fascinating or great about this resource is that there are many instances where you just need to know how to get somewhere, and there's no sort of navigational option within the console that you're in to get to that section of that administrative portal. So with this sort of collection of direct links, you can just immediately get to where you need to go and get to work. Next, we have the diagnostics for social good. So the interesting twist to this is it's actually a blog post that has a collection of instructions on how to access certain diagnostics tools within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Those tools can be used for SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, Teams, and Exchange, I believe, as well. And the kicker behind this is that um, it's Microsoft's way of trying to get us to help ourselves so they can supposedly focus on providing social good to the rest of the world. Take it or leave it on that one.
Got it.
Next, we have a pretty powerful and almost unknown tool called the Microsoft 365 DSC. The DSC stands for Desired State Configuration. For anyone who's perhaps a Windows server admin, or perhaps well acquainted with Azure ARM templates. This is essentially that, but for your 365 environment. I haven't seen anything like this anywhere else. It was developed by Microsoft engineers and it's supported by a community of developers, and effectively allows you to generate reports of the precise configuration parameters of all the entirety of your Microsoft 365 environment. That includes SharePoint Online, Exchange Online, OneDrive for Business, Azure AD, um, again, Power Platform, Dynamics, everything like that. And once you've generated that sort of output, you can then use that to ensure that your configuration stays as you configured it, or you could use it to replicate your configuration in a different tenant. So great for mergers and acquisitions, things of that nature. Or if you want to stand up like a test tenant, a demo tenant with a precise configuration from your primary tenant, you can use it in that manner. So again, it just gives you that visibility into everything that's occurring configuration-wise within your tenant, and provides a easy way to replicate and ensure that your settings are kept as you intended. And then the last one I have on my list is the Windows Configuration Designer. Really, it's like a smaller version of the what's formerly known as SCCM, or Configuration Manager, in the sense that you can use it to configure a Windows device during its initial setup phase. So very useful for anyone who's looking to deploy many devices in their environment, or even just a handful of devices. You can go ahead and make sure that all those devices are configured preemptively with things like Wi-Fi networks, any sort of local group policy settings that you might need to set. But yeah, definitely check out those tools that I mentioned.
Awesome. Mike, do you have any real quick here, any ones that you want to go through as well?
Chidera mostly covered it all. But I want to say that this was a great time. I really appreciate everyone coming out here. I appreciate all of the great questions that we had. I'm really sorry we didn't get to answer all of them. I would have loved to stay here and answered every single question that was asked. But for those of you that did ask a question and didn't get an answer, please sign up for that 15-minute consultation. We're more than happy to take all the time that you need to personally answer all of the questions that you have, and tailor it to your situation. So go ahead and sign up.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, because again, the questions were coming in quick in the Q&A and as well as the chat. So that 15-minute consultation, whether you just want to get your question answered, or if you want a list of the follow-up for all the resources available, like I said, it's the busiest resource widget I've ever seen. So just take that 15 minutes out of your day. The value it's going to save is going to be fantastic. But we try to get to all of them, but I know Highlander said there can be only one, but in this case, there can be only two. So the winners of the Amazon e-gift cards are D Devlin 1976 and TG44. Congratulations. Thank you so much for getting all your
congratulations.
Yes. Well done. Again, this was a great time. The hour flew by. It really was. I just couldn't believe, because again, I always learn something on these with you guys as well. So Chidera, Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions. And I thank you guys for Spice Heads all out there, and our viewers. Hopefully you learned some, and let's keep the conversation going, not only within the Spiceworks community, but take the time to get that 15-minute consultation. That, I feel like there's a marketing there. 15 minutes can save you blank of time, frustration,
countless hours, honestly.
Yes, hours. Yeah. Just for 15.
Time
so really
and money.
15% of your Microsoft license.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And we like
I
the
thought
food,
you were going
and we
the Geico route at first.
I felt like that. I was like, oh, I don't know if I would go that. But ours are factually.
True.
So yeah, you guys can do that. So again, thank you guys again for joining us today. That's the end of our show. And follow us in the community to see the next time we're having another show. But other than that, don't forget to tech yourself before you wreck yourself. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay spicy.
Thanks
everyone.